Hi everyone, welcome to day 2 of the 2024 eShopperReviews Game Awards, where we look at the best and worst games released on Nintendo Switch in 2024. I'm Jen Ip.
And I'm Jake McNeil.
And today's awards, the technical awards, are all about graphics, sound, writing, story, and characters.
All stuff that makes a game great, but isn't directly pertaining to the gameplay itself.
So before we start, I feel like we need to make a bit of an announcement. We're joined by 4 furry guests today. I have 4 dogs and they're in the recording area. So if you hear like claws clicking on tile or some growling or like kibble being eaten, it's my dogs.
Yeah, they do like making their noises.
All right, so we'll be starting out with Best Music.
When deciding which games have the best music, I'm looking at both at the quality of the music itself, based on my own personal opinion, which I know is subjective, but also how well I feel that music enhances the game and its gameplay.
So what are the runners-up?
So the runners-up for best music on Nintendo Switch in 2024 are The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom,
Not bad.
Wizardry: Proving Grounds of the Mad Overlord,
Same.
1000X Resist,
Pretty.
Neva, and Farewell North.
Ooh, I liked that one. So, who won Best Music?
So the winner for Best Music on Nintendo Switch in 2024 is Quilts and Cats of Calico.
Okay, that's very pretty.
I feel like a lot of the entries that I have here are very cinematic and bigger than life, and Quilts and Cats of Calico is very much not that.
No.
This is, I feel like, the epitome of what I look for when I play what people call a cozy game.
Mm-hmm.
The moment I started up this game, I immediately felt warm and welcome and like this is something I can just relax to. And I feel like that's exactly what you want when you play a game that's, again, one of those cozy games. So I feel like there was no soundtrack that I listened to this year that was more fitting, more suited to the game it was for than this one.
Next up, we have Best Song.
Much like with Best Music, these are songs that I think did the most for the games they were in, both because they were, I think, a good quality, but also just how well they worked within the game itself.
And who are the runners-up?
The runners-up for Best Song in a Nintendo Switch game in 2024 are Asa Go Distant from The Cub by Shane Barry and Igor Simic.
That was absolutely bizarre.
Oh man,
that was
you are
weird.
Not seeing her expression, but just the way her expression changed. I would go into it, but this is just one of the runners-up. Suffice it to say, I feel it works extremely well within the context of the game. Okay, the next one is Field Theme, or the Hyrule Field Theme, from The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom by Hajime Wakai.
Oh, it's Woodwinds.
Okay, so the next one is Lord of the Castle from Wizardry Proving Grounds of the Mad Overlord by Winifred Phillips.
There's like tavern vibes, but then it changes to something a bit more modern sounding.
See, that's funny because that game, they made it a point to use medieval instruments for the recording. The next one here is Watcher Haunted from 1000X Resist by Line Cacho and Drew Redman.
That's a pretty and somber one.
I feel like there are a few somber songs here, because next up we have opening theme Untitled Number 1 Vaca from Snufkin Melody of Moomin Valley by Sigur Rós.
Oh, we have an actual singer for one of these.
Yeah?
All right. And who are the winners? Or winner?
Who is the winner?
Yes.
The winner for Best Song in a Game on Nintendo Switch in 2024 is End Credits, My Heart's in the Highlands from Farewell North by John Konsolakis featuring Siobhan Miller.
Farewell to the mountains I covered with snow. Farewell to the straths and
Very beautiful.
So I'm going to try to avoid spoilers because this is a song from the very end of the game. This is the end credits song. Early on into Farewell North, you're treated to kind of the introduction to this vocal theme, this My Heart's in the Highlands. And the end credits theme is kind of the response to that opening, where the first part is kind of like the first verse, her heart is in the Highland. And later on in the game, it kind of recontextualizes all of this and kind of shows that it's not necessarily just the place that she's talking about. It's everything that represents and kind of the loss that she feels tied to that and the way that she is putting that behind her and moving on. It's a powerful emotional moment that the entire game is kind of building up to, and I feel like this song does a brilliant job kind of heightening the emotion of that moment.
All right.
No comment, huh?
It's kind of hard to move from that easily, I gotta say. It's pretty powerful. But next up we have Best Sound Design, which I think is kind of the basic idea. It's what sounds good but also enhances the game.
Yeah, kind of the same thing that we've been talking about already here.
What are the runners up?
The runners-up for Best Sound Design in a game on Nintendo Switch in 2024 are Neckbreak, Nine Souls, Pentiment, Stray, and Conscript.
And who won Best Sound Design?
The winner for Best Sound Design in a game on Nintendo Switch in 2024 is Animal Well. Animal Well is a game that has no music whatsoever. The entire soundscape of the game is crafted by its sound design. And every place that you visit in this game has this really unique sound coming from the environment, whether it's the creatures, whether it's the foliage that you're passing by, whether it's little water driplets dropping down. And it paints an extremely vivid picture of the places that you're going through just based on the sound alone. And that it's doing that in a very lo-fi manner, but still in a way that's effective, that really gives you a feel for this place. I feel very impressive.
Next up, we have Best Voice Acting, which I think doesn't need much of an introduction.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Who are the runners up?
So I should note, for this year, I've decided to just be looking at the games rather than individual performances. There were just too many voice performances for me to...
You would spend too much time on that.
So the games that I feel had the best voice acting on Nintendo Switch in 2024 are Slay the Princess, the Pristine Cut, The Holy Gosh Darn, Neva, Thank Goodness You're Here, Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown.
And the winner?
The winner for best voice acting in a Nintendo Switch game in 2024 is 1000X Resist. 1000X Resist has kind of a out there science fiction-y plot. I've compared it to Logan's Run. It's kind of a dystopia that's made to appear like a utopia, and it's this whole society full of clones, and it's such a kind of bonkers out there concept that it would be really easy to get emotionally detached from this situation. And the voice acting in this game is so somber and down to earth, and you really feel the humanity in these characters, which makes it a lot easier to sympathize and empathize with these characters. And on top of that, throughout the game, you get kind of projected back into the memories of the founder of this society. And this is kind of starting out like when she was a teenager. And my read on her is I didn't feel like she was a particularly good person, but you still feel like the nuance of the situation comes across. It's not just one-dimensional. And the entire game, you're feeling these themes of isolation and loneliness, and it's the voice acting that really carries this through.
Next, we have Best Graphical Style, and how are you going to define that? Because that's so subjective.
Let's be honest, everything here is subjective.
Yeah.
It's all me saying what I think. But for graphical style, I'm looking at games that, regardless of how technically impressive they are or aren't, I'm looking at that these games have a really impressive visual style that's unique and enhances the game that it's in.
And who are the runners-up?
The runners-up for best graphical style in a Nintendo Switch game in 2024 are Unicorn Overlord, Pentiment, Thank Goodness You're Here, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, and Animal Well.
And the winner?
The winner for best graphical style in a Nintendo Switch game in 2024 is Neva. So Neva is the follow-up to a really gorgeous game called Gris, or Gris. I'm not sure the pronunciation. And that's a tough act to follow because that was an absolutely beautiful game. But I think that Neva is more than up for the task here. It is top to bottom. absolutely beautiful painterly. It has imaginative backdrops, really fluid animation. There are some really impressive set pieces that look gorgeous, that are really striking. And you can feel the influences of Hayao Miyazaki films, but this still has its own look and feel to it. It is just a gorgeous game.
Next up, we have Best Graphics.
So for Best Graphics, I'm looking at how technically good the visuals are. And that's actually been really difficult this year because, wow, the Nintendo Switch is showing its age.
Yeah.
Even the best looking games this year, a lot of them really struggled to perform well on Nintendo Switch. Even Nintendo's own games, I feel like, have struggled with this a lot this year. However, these games that I've selected, I feel, provide a technically impressive visual presentation with the fewest amount of problems.
This is why I game on the PC.
Okay, PC Master Race, sit down.
Okay, who are the runners-up?
So the runners-up for Best Graphics in a Nintendo Switch game in 2024 are Expeditions, a Mud Runner game, Farewell North, Sonic X Shadow Generations, Super Mario Party Jamboree, and Stray.
And who is the winner?
The winner for Best Graphics in a Nintendo Switch game in 2024 is Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Prince of Persia is maybe the one exception to this trend I was talking about a moment ago, where a lot of games on Nintendo Switch this year really showed their age. Prince of Persia runs flawlessly on Switch. It is marvelous to look at, and it doesn't suffer at all for being on Nintendo Switch. It has really fluid animation. It has really imaginative backgrounds, tons of detail everywhere. I don't think there is any kind of flaw in the presentation here, and that it is performing at such a high level and doing it so well on Nintendo Switch made it the sure pick for me in this category this year.
Next up is Best Story. Who are the runners-up?
The runners-up for Best Story on Nintendo Switch in 2024 are Slay the Princess, the Pristine Cut, Stray, Lil Guardsman, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, and Pentiment.
And the winner?
The winner for Best Story in a Nintendo Switch game in 2024 is 1000X Resist. I already talked somewhat about how this game is set in kind of this dystopian future society and how it spends time looking back at the founding of that society. And it's a really unique vision of the future. But on top of that, I feel like it's a very nuanced look at kind of a more modern day setting and this multi-generational immigrant family and the struggles they deal with. It deals with themes of mental disability, of families growing distant from each other, dealing with themes of how people react to a pandemic. And I feel like a lot of these are things that'll probably hit home for a lot of players. And
Probably.
I also feel like it's dealt with very maturely without toning down the harshness of the focal character, this Iris character who founded this society. I feel like the maturity that they deal with this outlandish concept of the future and the way that they look at difficult situations in the present definitely made this the most striking story for me in 2024.
Next up, we have Best New Character. And who are the runners-up?
The runners-up for Best New Character in a Nintendo Switch game in 2024 are the Princess from Slay the Princess, the Pristine Cut, Lil from Lil Guardsman, Iris from 1000X Resist, Andreas from Pentiment, and the Salesman from Thank Goodness You're Here.
And the winner?
The winner for Best Character in a Nintendo Switch game in 2024 is Captain Coolymbus from A Time Traveler's Guide to Past Delicacies.
This game is not. No.
So, Captain Columbus, and that's how they always pronounce his name in the game, is a really nuanced character, and it doesn't seem like that at first. He's a sock puppet, and he's such a goofy character, or at least so it seems, but you never really feel like he's a humorous character. In fact, the more time you spend with this character, the more he seems really shady and untrustworthy and maybe even potentially dangerous. And he's constantly acting in a goofy way, but every now and then he'll say something that just seems off or concerning. And it really changes the tone of this game from something silly to something that maybe is hiding something sinister. And I feel like that adds a depth to this game just through this one character and the performance of this character that really transforms it into something else. And as you can tell by Jen's reaction, yeah, this is not a game for everyone.
No.
It is, I think it's fair to say, it is an art piece in a way that not everyone is going to appreciate. But I feel like those who do kind of get it, what this game is going for, it does a magnificent job with that. And a large part of the reason why is this one character, this silly, weird, kind of maybe a little creepy character.
Oh, definitely creepy. Definitely creepy. Anyway, that does it for day 2 of the eShopperReviews 2024 Game Awards. Thank you for listening, and please come back throughout the week of January 13th through January 17th, 2025 to see more awards announced. And remember, if you want to read about the games mentioned here, head to eShopperReviews.com. And if you enjoyed this content, please consider heading over to our Patreon page to support eShopperReviews and gain access to even more content. Thank you again, everyone. This has been Jen Ip
and Jake McNeil.
and we hope you've all enjoyed some great games.
Later.